Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. You know it. It's not even 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. If it's not 3:30, you know that I was reared and ready to go. Like I have a vision on how this video is going to come together. I'm going to talk about three different people and an idea. I'm going to talk about Diplo, an American record producer and DJ, who I never even heard of until this morning. I'm going to talk about a woman and a couple and their interaction in a Starbucks in Miami. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Alex Jones and what happened here in Connecticut. And the idea I want to talk about is freedom of speech. And I'm going to tie all three of these together. Oh, and orientation. What people's various orientations are, and does that change through life? Okay, let me start at the very beginning here. When I do these videos, a lot of times I'll talk about, like I said yesterday, I'll talk about mistakes and things that happen in my life in an effort to tell you guys a heads up. You know, I'm not telling people what to do, but hey, this didn't work for me. It came out very badly. I'll do that in these videos. And in some of these videos, I will give my opinion. Like today, I'm going to give my opinion and what's happened to me in my life. And I don't give my opinion to convince other people to go along with me. Like, I thought about this. If I looked in the comments and everybody completely agreed 100%, that would be nice, but it would get boring. I give my opinion on very touchy, controversial subjects. I'd like to do this because I like to talk about things that other people don't want to talk about. I like to rock the boat. I like to start up conversation about things that should be talked about, that's okay to talk about. Okay, freedom of speech. What is it? What's okay? What is okay to say? Supposedly we have the right here to say whatever we want. We could go in the middle of a group of people and just babble on about whatever we feel like babbling about. Is that okay? What about what happened with the last 3 years with what we went through? And people are scared. People are worried for their families. And when you get disinformation out there, when you blame a specific group of people, and people are scared and frightened for their own health, safety, their lives, the lives of their family, you're putting people in danger. I tried to think of something that compares to that. What if I said, I came out here and I said, hey, now this isn't true, but I'm using it as an example. I read some studies, and people with blue eyes, 98% of people with blue eyes are mostly dishonest and like to steal. What if I went into a CVS? What if I went to CVS's or drugstores every day and pointed out people with blue eyes and said, hey, man, you better check that guy before he goes out the door. You better pat him down. I think he took something. Where does it cross from freedom of speech to endangering people or interfering with their lives? Like here in Connecticut, Alex Jones. There's going to be a link down below. There was a story about Alex Jones today, and he's back to his old self. When he was in court here in Waterbury, Connecticut, just not far from where I'm sitting. He admitted that he believed it all, that it was all just, he knew what happened. And now there's a clip down below. He's back on InfoWars, and he's assuring his viewers that no money is going to go to the people, the parents in Connecticut. No money. You could buy all his supplements and buy all the stuff they want from InfoWars, all this miscellaneous claptrap, and none of it. You could be rest assured that not a penny of that money will go to Connecticut parents, the Connecticut parents in Newtown. Wow. And then he goes on to say, this is how the left operates, and they're just trying to silence us. It's David against Goliath. And take it from somebody who lives, my whole life I've lived right outside of Newtown. I know people from there. You look at what this guy has said and what he's done to these people, and no punishment is severe enough in my mind. Where do you draw the line at freedom of speech? Okay, let's move on to the next story. Starbucks, Miami. There's going to be a link down below. There's a older lady, probably in her 50s, maybe 60s, in a green muumuu with matching shoes. Now, this isn't about fashion, but she's in a Starbucks in Miami. and she just starts talking about different groups of people. Now, this is this woman's, what she said in this restaurant. She said that people of color are products of the devil. She said that Asian people, the whole thing with what we went through in the last 3 years, it's all their fault. And then she attacks a lesbian couple. I can't even say what she said. She starts interacting because this couple confront her because she's already spouting off about people of color and Asian people. So this lesbian couple, I don't even, you know what? I don't even know if it's a lesbian couple. It's two women, and that's good enough for me. And they confront her. And they ask her, because she's talking about lesbians, this lady in a green muumuu. And they ask her, why isn't it okay to be a lesbian? And the lady in green says, you don't know who I am. You don't know who I work for. And that makes me wonder, is it going to come out, does this lady work for like Ron DeSantis or something, Okay. And then she makes this accusation. So she says, no, it's not okay. It's evil. You're evil. Okay. Now, see, this is where, to me, it crosses the line of freedom of speech. And then she makes this accusation that is just so bizarrely over the top. People like her always go to the children. Oh, my God, won't somebody save the children? And she makes this most bizarre. I can't say what it is. But she says, this is why, because lesbian couples, you guys do this, and like I said, I can't even hint at what she said, and have any hopes to keep my monetization here. You'll have to watch the link down below. But it's just, you got to wonder, these people. First of all, why is she ranting? Why is she so angry? Why is she picking on different groups of people? Why does she think she's superior? Why does she feel the need? Is she scared? Does she feel the need to blame everybody else? Does she feel superior? I don't get it. These kind of people, it makes me nauseous to look at this. I can't believe that some people are so hateful and interfering and claim to be people of God, but yet put out these lies and put people like this in danger by saying this stuff. Like I said, it crosses a line from freedom of speech to something else when you start accusing people of hideous crimes and atrocities. Okay, now on to the next guy, Diplo. He's an American record producer and DJ, 44-year-old, I believe. And he was recently on Emily Ratajkowski's. I knew I was going to have a hard time with that name. I believe her name is Emily Ratajkowski. He was on her podcast, and he talked about is he gay or is he not gay? And he brought up a couple. Out of all three of these people, I agree most with Diplo. He takes it rather laid back. Like, first of all, it's his business. I think my opinion is, I think people's preferences change. I think a lot of people are embarrassed to admit that they've considered, like, of course I've considered what it would be like to have another man, to have a man part, could I, how would that be if I, instead of having like Audrey or a woman that I dated, what if I had a man partner, and honestly, I can't wrap my mind around that. To me, that just, it's okay for other people, but for me, it's not something that I could do. I can't even picture myself doing it. But Diplo says something. He says that he's sure that he's received oral gratification from a man before. Yeah, and he says something else. He says, but it's not gay because he didn't make eye contact with the man. And he says he's received oral gratification from lots of people. I just have to laugh watching this guy. But he's got a laid-back attitude, like, look, so what? This is what I am. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, and who really cares? In the whole scheme of the universe and man's existence on this earth and God and all that, why does it even matter to anybody else what my preference is? Okay, and so he's got some interesting theories here. He says he's sure he's received oral gratification. And he thinks that's not gay. But I imagine that giving oral gratification would be. But then he goes on to say this. He talks about having a male life partner. And he says, he'd find that interesting. There's some guys like on TV, other famous people that he says this. These clips will all be down below, so you can watch it yourself. And he says he could picture himself. He does picture himself like having a male life partner, And to me, that would be, not that it's anybody's business. And on TMZ they make an interesting comment that the younger generations, the millennials and Gen Z, don't really classify, like it's no big deal to them, and it's only really a big deal to boomers and to some extent Gen Xers, or like this lady in the green moo. And I think back now. I'm not going to admit anything here. First of all, the stuff I talked about, the having dealt with a predator when I was younger, to me that's not even a classification of sexual identity at all. That was an act of a predator and violence. That had nothing to do. Anything I did or did not do, or I allowed to happen, or happened to me. See, that's wrong. I shouldn't even said that, allowed to happen, because none of that I allowed to happen. But that's not a classification of sexual identity. That's being violated. But I thought back to being younger, right? I lived out in the middle of the woods, and there was I was probably my 10, 12 years old, 9, 10, 12, 13 years old. And there's another boy that lived next to me, and we were good friends. And we would come across different people would throw out penthouses and Hustler magazines, and we'd sit around and we'd look through this stuff. And I'm not going to get too specific here. And I think there's. I'm going to see if I can find studies down below, because I've read studies about this before, that when male and female boys and girls are young, they experiment. Especially boys, because of the sex drive at that age. And I'll just stop there. But let's just say, I think, I've experienced a lot of things in my life, and none of it, I guess all of it has led to where I am now. What I like and dislike and what I want in my life, and whose business is it besides for mine? It's certainly not some lady in a green moo in a Miami Starbucks. It's certainly not her business what I prefer or don't prefer. I hope that made some sense. The links will all be down below. I got another video all made up about 3 huge mistakes I've made here on YouTube. That video is all set to go. I'm going to try to download that second video today. You guys have a great Wednesday.